HUMA Network, and thank you for tuning in for part of our continued series for the love of the game. In our next segment, we will be discussing one of college sports' most successful yet controversial coaches, and the mark he's made on one of America's favorite pastimes, college basketball. Bobby Knight coached at Indiana University and won 3 national championships. He is equal parts brilliance and abrasiveness. He is regarded as one of the greatest coaches of the game's history, but his career has been marred by his infamous temper tantrums that are no stranger to national news headlines. HUMA's very own Brooke Cooper scored an interview with the retired coach, wherein she discusses his behavior and the impact it's had on his players. Let's take a look.
Thank you for joining us at HUMA. This is Brooke Cooper, and I'm here with Bobby Knight today, the coach, legend. How are you doing with us?
I'm great. Nice to be here, Brooke.
Awesome. So, as you know, over your long career, there's been a lot of controversy that's been circulating around your career.
Yeah.
But I guess tonight we'll kind of get into some hot topics that everybody, I think, has been wondering for the length of your career since back in the 70s. So we'll just jump right in, okay?
All right.
When did you know you wanted to start coaching basketball?
Well, coaching has been in my, I guess, plans since I was a little kid. You could ask my parents, I would always run around with a ball of some sort trying to tell other kids what to do. That's just when I figured out that coaching was for me.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So now that we know that your background of why you want to start coaching, we'll go back for a minute and we'll look at the incident from back in the 1960s. In the 1960s, there was an incident with you and Coach Blubaugh where he forcibly told you to get out of his practice area. Do you think that your style of coaching stems from that incident?
On that day, Coach Blubaugh, he taught me a very valuable lesson that if you want to get respect, you have to use some type of form of force, sometimes even aggression. If you got to do what you got to do, get what you want. And I've run my team that way, and since I have, you know the record. We've done
champions.
Wonderful things. We became champions, gold medalists. Yeah, so
he taught you a very important lesson.
That was very important to me.
Okay, so when you were coaching in the 1970s for Indiana University, there was an incident where you slapped the coach of Kentucky upside his head. Do you have any remarks about that incident?
That slap was a form of endearment. Now, if I wanted to be malicious to him, I would have blew the fucker into the stands. Okay? People always try to make it seem like everything that I do is abusive, but it's not. It's just the way I am. It's, we're men. If you can't take a little pat across the head, then I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
In 1985, when you threw a chair across the court because of 2 foul calls when you were playing Purdue, what was the issue with that night, Mr. Knight?
Well, spectators, they don't see everything that happens on the court. You got to be closer to the court to know what's going on. And the referee, he deliberately ignored my complaints, you could say, about the game. And the chair wasn't a form of anger or anything. Across the court, I saw an elderly lady. She was standing, so it's not like I just chunked the chair across the room. I kind of slid it across the court as a way of, letting her know she could have that seat to, rest herself. It was never a form of abuse or aggression or anything like that. I was just trying to be helpful to her.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then moving on to another controversy that, of course, went viral and definitely kind of put you in the hot spot when it comes to your coaching career in 1991, when a locker room player recorded you motivating them with threats and profanity. Are you ashamed of your actions at all?
Well, first and foremost, it's never fair to a person to know that they're not being recorded. Now, that was just a violation of my privacy. When I'm talking to my players, that's a sacred time between me and them. And clearly it worked because we won that game. The way I coach is, it's a way to motivate them. Yes, it might sound harsh, to a person that don't play sports, but me and my players, we have an understanding. And what that person did was, it was just not respectable, and that's all I have to say about it.
So you think that the way you're coaching these boys is actually coaching helping them as men?
Of course, when you are a man and you're training boys, because they're really just boys still, you know, they still are under their parents' supervision. You have to teach them what a real man looks like. And as for me, in my opinion, I am a real man, and using aggression is a form to, you know, teach them to not be ran over, as one may say, or walked all over.
Mm-hmm.
Aggression is a great way to get your point across to some things. I'm not saying it's always the answer, but majority of the time, if you're not aggressive, people are not going to take you seriously. And how can you be taken seriously and taken as a man if you don't know when to be aggressive? Yeah.
How has your coaching affected your players, would you say? Do you think that you're sort of, as what people would call it, toxic masculinity, how do you think that's do you think it's benefited them? How do you think that's affected your players?
Well, actually, let's take a look into my magical ball. Let's see. It's going to take a while. Players I've coached, we have, NBA All-Stars. We have breadwinners. We have, I think I did a pretty damn good job if you look at what we've done. So don't question me about negative masculinity.
We'll move on to something else then, so that's a little bit of a touchy subject.
Yeah, it's really disrespectful.
Okay. There's a lot circulating about the ongoing feud between you and John Wooden from UCLA. Can you tell us a little bit about what that feud is about?
Well, John, he's a good person. He's a great coach. But his morals is what runs me hot about him. He had Sam Gilbert to recruit his players at any means necessary. One time he told me that he didn't know how to control Sam. If you sent that fucker to me, I would know how to control Sam. So John is a great coach, but as a person, he's just not the person I would choose, and that's all I have to say about that.
Do you have any regards to the book that was written by one of your former players, Todd Jadlow, about you abusing him and grabbing his testicles?
First and foremost, I don't recall that situation. However, sometimes life would be the one to grab you by your testicles. It's just a way of becoming a man. It's not to be enticing, it's not to be sexually driven. It's just a formation of what being a man will do to you. You know, I've been grabbed by the testicles, not physically, but sometimes mentally. Being in this world as a man is just something you have to gain. It's something you have to lose when you become a man. That's all there is to it.
Okay, and just one last question that we have for you. I'm sorry. How do you think your controversial past and violent behaviors changed the face of sports?
You know what? I'm done with this interview.
Well, we just had that one question.
Nah, I'm done with this. I can't take this anymore. You're trying to paint me as a freaking monster. Like
Mr.
I'm out here not doing the best that I can, and that I didn't do what was right by my players when I was a coach. So I'm done with this, because I'm not a monster. I was just trying to help out and teach them how to be a man. Because that's how I know how to be a man.
Mr.
I'm
Knight,
done with this.
Can we have just a second? Mr. Knight.
Want to play, then I'm getting the fuck out of here. I mean, if you're not going to recover Greg Graham, if you're just going to let him drive by you, if the rest of you are going to let him catch the ball outside the 3-second lane and drive all the way in here without one guy challenging him, then I'm leaving and you fucking guys will run till you can't even suffer.
As shown earlier in our educational interview with Bobby Knight, we can see that toxic masculinity has debilitating impacts on young men and sports culture as a whole.
The violent and erratic behavior exhibited by Bobby Knight is not a new development in the world of sport. For centuries, young men have been berated with physical and verbal assaults in the name of being a man. When coaches like Bobby Knight or even parents exhibit aggressive behavior In an effort to toughen up their sons, they are enabling and perpetrating a life of toxic masculinity.
Toxic masculinity is a man's over-adherence to traditional gender roles that will go on to negatively impact their future. Men overly devoted to gender roles have a tendency to restrict themselves from being emotionally available and create a male-dominant social expectation that can lead to substance abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence, and even suicide.
When the roles of young men, like coaches and parents, exhibit and encourage this behavior, we are perpetuating a toxic lifestyle. No child should be groomed to believe that they are superior to their mother, cousin, or female sibling simply because of their biology. Furthermore, no child should have to be taught that they shouldn't express their feelings because it's not what men do.
Unfortunately, this kind of behavior is celebrated in sports. Young men are taught to be aggressive and strong. When coaches like Bobby Knight condition young men to believe that a real man uses violence and aggression to get his point across, they are teaching young boys that this behavior is key to success and manhood.
It's important moving forward that all influences in a child's life provide love and support instead of aggression to establish and reinforce self-esteem in that child. Sports are a means to find passion, teamwork, and success. Sports are not supposed to be breeding grounds for toxic ideology and violence.
This is the life that Bobby Knight chose.
Thank you for watching.
Bye!